All right, so for part two of my Streets of Venice terrain series, we are going to talk about Papercraft terrain. So Papercraft terrain is pretty great, especially for beginners, because you don't have to paint it. The artwork is, with the capabilities of printers nowadays, very high definition and looks great. But there are some downsides to Papercraft terrain that we are going to need to mitigate if we're going to want to use this terrain long term. So Papercraft is usually pretty easy to build. As you can see, there's actually not a lot of assembly that's needed most of the times. This comes pre-glued, so literally all you have to do is just fold it together. But those downsides, so there's like no weight to it. So, if you accidentally bump this during a game, it's going to move around on you. And then it doesn't really have any rigidity. So if you try to store this long term and transport it to your game store, over time, this is going to eventually get torn or ripped, or these creases will wear out on you. Also, it is ultimately paper, so humidity and moisture causes even more concerns. Now, thankfully, due to the magic of 3D printing, we can actually mitigate most of these downsides and make something that's really sturdy and durable and doesn't bounce around as much on your table. So let's get into the video and I'll show you guys how you can improve your Papercraft terrain. All right, so the first major step in protecting these Papercraft buildings are going to be our 3D printed parts. Now, I have designed an entire suite of items that I'm making available for free over on Cults. So there's going to be a link down in the description where you can get the files for all of these. But for each of the building types, you're essentially going to have a base and then an insert for the building. I was having some printer problems, so I had to do a little bit of sanding on this particular insert. But this will go into the building. And then there are cuts, which I don't know how well you can see, but you can tell my fingernail is stopping right here. There are indents in this shell to make room for the flaps that are inside the Papercraft buildings. And so once your building is on there, you go ahead and slot that into the base. And then we've got a roof bit to protect the top edges of the building, and that will slot right over the top. So you can imagine the Papercraft building is going to be locked in here, and getting this all assembled takes very little time. For the expansion bits of terrain, these shells are hollow and they print upside down, so no supports are required. Very easy prints. Now for the starter terrain, I designed those first, and the way I made them, you need infill. However, you don't need supports. I ended up figuring out through the process how you can use a wedge on those indents so that you can print them upside down and not need supports to then make the internals hollow. But since these were free files, I didn't want to waste time going back and altering the starter parts. But by all means, there are other optimizations you could make. You could cut like a grid pattern out of here to use less material, for example, or if you were so inclined for those starter parts, you could find a way to add the bridges in and then print them upside down and hollow out the internals. All right, so let's talk briefly about getting the buildings prepped and assembled. Now, for the three styles that come in the starter pack terrain, I'm not going to actually go over the assembly instructions for those. TT Combat has done a great, thorough video for how to get those assembled, and I'm going to go ahead and link that video up in the card. So if you're having any struggles, getting those three buildings assembled, please refer to that video. Now, for the expansion pack buildings, these are actually very, very simple. So everything is already pre-glued. So you're really just flexing the building to get it to hold its shape. And now we do need to make one little alteration to this. So you can see you have the roof and the support struts mirrored down on the bottom, and we need to trim this bottom bit off so that we can use our building inserts. Now, these are here because if you weren't doing what we're doing in this video and adding support structures, this will actually give more stability to the buildings so that they'll hold their shape, but our 3D prints are going to do that for us. So I've got some footage here. I'm using my NeoBlade ultrasonic cutter to get some very nice, easy, straight lines to cut away these bottom bits. You do want to make sure that you have the building orientated properly so that you're actually cutting the bottom and not the roof, because the windows and the doors are only in one orientation. So if you accidentally cut off the roof, you could still make the building, but it's going to be upside down. Now, with the NeoBlade, it is a rather pricey tool, but it does make these terrain projects a whole lot easier to do. But if you don't have an ultrasonic cutter, you can go ahead, just use a metal ruler so that you can get a nice, hard, straight line, and then use your hobby knife to kind of score through the cardstock to trim off that bottom. All right, so once you've got your buildings assembled, you can go ahead and insert the internal frame. And now for the starter terrain, there's this seam in this one corner that's not glued or anything, and it's kind of flimsy. So to hold that together, I'm just going to use a piece of packing tape, and this will be very, very glossy, but we're going to apply a matte coat once we're all done, so don't worry about that. Just want to make sure when you put that tape on, it's nice and flat. And now you don't want to overlap your tape, so when you get down to the bottom, you'll have this flap. You can just use a hobby knife to just go ahead and trim that. Right, so now we're ready to attach our roof and our base. So I've already got some of my Aleene's tacky glue, and it's useful to have the pin variant to run some into the channels on the roofs for the starter pack terrain. Now, the roofs for the expansion terrain sets don't have the raised lip, so they're easier to deal with. So we're just gonna get our building slotted into the base. Just give it a spin, make sure all of the walls of the paper are down in there. And then we're going to take our lid and just press that on. And then you can use something heavy like a book to go ahead and weight that down until the glue is dry. All right, so once our glue has set, now we need to handle the moisture problem that comes along with Papercraft terrain. So we need to seal all of these buildings. So now here in the time-lapse footage, I'm using Mod Podge, which is a decoupage medium for Papercraft projects. It's actually purpose-made for what we're doing. It's essentially a PVA glue that has extra chemical sealants and hardeners in it, so that once it dries and it cures, you get a really nice, clear, tough shell that's going to protect your papercraft projects. And then because its base is PVA glue, it's actually going to soak into the paper, and then once it hardens, it will harden the paper as well, which is going to give some strength and help make our papercraft buildings a little bit water resistant. Now, the one downside to using Mod Podge or other decoupage mediums is the drying time. So it does require about 30 minutes in between coats. Before you come in with an extra coat, you're probably going to want to make sure that one, it's perfectly clear, and then two, it's dry to the touch. But you're probably going to need roughly about 2 or 3 coats on all of the buildings. And then the other sort of downside to it is the cure time. So in order for this to cure, it actually takes an entire month before all of the chemical hardeners and everything fully set. So if you're looking to use the terrain right away, Mod Podge might not be the best option for you. You could get away with brushing on a matte acrylic medium, where, that, depending on how thickly you lay it on, is probably only going to take, 24 hours, 2 days tops, for that to fully cure. Now, once, however you decided to do this first layer of sealant is done drying and curing, we're going to go ahead and coat all of the buildings in a coat of Rust-Oleum Matte Clear. Now, this is an enamel clear matte spray paint. So you're going to want to make sure that if you're using a water-based sealer for step 1, that has completely cured. You don't want any moisture trapped in between your water-based sealer and your enamel sealer. Now, the enamel sealer is nice because since this is terrain, you're going to get even more hardness than what a water-based sealer would be able to provide you. So we're going to get a rock solid finish on all of these buildings so that they'll stand the test of time. The other nice thing with the enamel top coat is that enamel products are hydrophobic. So that's going to add even more water resistance to these buildings. All right, and so I've added some of our papercraft terrain to the canal street layout. And this is just one scenery pack, so there's 8 of those buildings, and actually one of them is not on the table. And then the starter terrain pack. So with those 2 packs just alone, you're looking at adding 11 buildings to a terrain layout. And if you saw video 1, where we only had the 3 chroma buildings, you can see that just adding that little bit of extra terrain really bulked out this layout. And having that extra pack that I haven't built yet will, allow me to spread out to 4x4 and 6x4 boards, no problem. So this table that everything's sitting on is only 2.5 by 4 foot, I believe. So this setup is actually a little bit cramped, but once you're actually on a legit table, this is the perfect amount of terrain, and it's going to work great for all of my skirmish fantasy games such as Carnevale, which it's meant for, but also games like Malifaux, Age of Sigmar even would look awesome with this terrain, and even some historicals. So, for World War II type games like Bolt Action, Venice would have actually kind of looked like this. So if you wanted to recreate some historical battles with this terrain, it would work out really well. So that's it for part 2 of the Streets of Venice build. Make sure you check back in for part 3. We're going to be painting all of the canal streets and get those all protected for storage. And we'll keep this project moving. Until then, keep slaying that gray. I'll see you in the next video.